of climate change.
It's a plane, it's a jet, it's a taxi, the newest mode of transportation and how it could potentially help the environment.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Well, thanks for staying with us for Weather Extra. Joined now by newly engaged Lauren Linehan. Congratulations.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you. Got the little bling right here.
Well, I said on day one, the first time I met Matt, I said, "Hey, I know this is a match. This two peas in a pod." You ever heard that saying?
We are two very different peas in a pod. So similar but so different. But thank you, Wes. It was a very exciting weekend.
Well, I know we're all excited. We got some rain coming back tonight. Let's get right to it. The next big thing, we got a first alert for some showers coming back, and that rain starting to build in across our southwest areas. A lot of green on that map, and yeah, we love it. Keep on moving north there. Showers, and the chance for wet weather is going to increase later on tonight. That wet weather is going to be with us past midnight and into tomorrow morning. At the moment, again, still dry around Birmingham, but you can see Tuscaloosa, here it comes. Those showers, they're starting to build in from the south direction. Going for a close look, areas where we're starting to see some of those sprinkles here around Greensboro and Hale County, Greensboro High School, over into Greene County and Pickens County. I was watching in eastern parts of the coverage area. We had some rain trying to work in towards Clanton and Jemison, and what's happening here is as the atmosphere moistens up, it's going to pull the temperature down a bit. We'll see those readings down into the low 50s, upper 40s again to start the day tomorrow. So it is going to be chilly out there tonight. Even after today, we had a nice rebound in those temperatures. But look at this. This is 3 a.m. You can see overnight. Looks like a pretty good coverage here past midnight. Again, during the early morning as those showers build in. And then what happens tomorrow during the day, I still think there's going to be some drizzle, a few scattered showers, kind of damp and dreary at times. But notice to the south, we still could see a pretty good coverage of showers into tomorrow night. So that chance for wet weather is going to stick around even as we go on into our Thursday. But what we're tracking here, we've got a storm system, a low pressure system moving across the Gulf, and that's helping to rotate that moisture. That's why all the showers are kind of lifting in from the south direction. So that's what we're going to be tracking. It's taking its time, and it's going to take it probably about 72 hours to get out of here. And we'll be talking about Friday, maybe a few leftover showers as we have a cold front that's going to make its way through the area. But as we go back to meteorologist Lauren Linehan, I'm going to have a check on the 7-day forecast coming up, but I do want to give a big shout out. We've got an in-studio audience tonight, an awesome group of Girl Scouts. Lauren, tell us, we got some future meteorologists there?
I think so. Do any of you girls love science? Yes. Oh, that's awesome. So these girls, Wes, I just picked them up outside. No, they're actually here visiting the studio. One of our producers, Shiloh, her daughter, Khaki, is in this Girl Scout troop. And these are Girl Scouts who are third graders in Bluff Park. And we're so excited to have y'all here today. Have y'all been learning anything about the great outdoors, I guess, being brownies, right? So y'all been learning about, camping, great outdoors, just camping. You go camping a lot, right? Yeah. Isn't that what Girl Scouts? I do. Once you went camping once, do you have to learn about the weather and know about the weather at all? Because if not, I know someone who can teach you about it.
Only my parents know.
Only your parents know. Oh, well, this is a perfect opportunity for us to have you here so you can learn more about the weather on Weather Extra and, of course, make your big TV debut. You see that camera that says 5? That's the one we're looking at. So wave to all your friends and fans at home. Thanks so much for coming by here tonight, guys. And we'll be definitely sure to teach you more about the weather.
Awesome job there, Lauren. And we continue to talk about how El Nino could potentially impact our winter weather this year. Meteorologists Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson join us now for an in-depth look on our secondary severe weather season.
We are halfway through November pretty much, Mickey.
Yep, pretty much.
And normally we think winter time gets colder, but did you know, and you probably do, we have what we would say a secondary severe weather season.
Just because you just said it.
But
yeah, we've said that before. And we could see, even though it's been dry, even though we've been in a drought, we could see a wetter than average setup as we head into late November and into December.
Yeah, well, we have an El Nino. It's really strong, and normally in El Nino setups, you will find an active, what we call subtropical jet stream that brings in a plume of moisture across the deep south. And so, for instance, we're tracking a low right now in the Gulf of Mexico that could give us some rain tonight. So this is something we typically see during this time of the year. So hopefully we'll see this dry pattern break because of El Nino. But when you have active storm systems, that can mean a threat for severe weather. Now, we're not anticipating anything at the moment for that could be severe, but normally as we get into late November into December, you can't ever rule it out when it comes to climatology.
Yeah, we've got some data here that really compiled it all between 1982 and 2011, and it showed that into late November and early December, we've seen a history of severe storms from eastern parts of Oklahoma through Arkansas, northern Louisiana, Mississippi, and through central Alabama.
Yeah, and when we talk about severe weather, of course, we're talking about damaging winds, but also the chance for tornadoes. And we can see a ramp up in tornado activity in the southeast, especially for the southern half of Mississippi. And this is just based off climatology of what we've seen over the past decades. So it isn't unusual to see severe weather during this time of the year. In fact, here's a look at some stats from the National Weather Service showing Alabama tornadoes by month from 1950 to 2022.
And most times you're going to see that in the springtime, March
Right.
and April and parts of May. But if you look on down the line there, November spikes up as well.
That does, and it even goes into December. So we can see severe weather obviously any month of the year, but it really starts to peak a little bit now and also as we go into the spring months. So of course we're here to keep you prepared, and we just want to make sure you stay safe in case there's severe weather down in the future. So make sure you download the WBRC First Alert weather app.
Yep, and you can get access to free weather alerts and 10-day forecasts. More than we give a 7-day forecast. You can get a 10-day forecast there, access to radar and futurecast data as well.
That's right. So let's just hope we just get rain with no severe weather. That'd be great.
Thanks, Matt and Mickey. Well, today, President Biden unveiling the new National Climate Assessment. The findings reveal a difficult outlook. The comprehensive report shows that climate change is impacting every region of the country. The study took 4 years to complete, 750 authors and experts working on it, and contributions from thousands of Americans in every state. It's the only fifth report of its kind. Biden also unveiled billions of dollars in funding to strengthen climate resilience.
Along with this assessment, I'm announcing $6 billion in new investments from the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law to make communities across the country more resilient to climate change.
The funds will be administered by the Department of Energy, the EPA, and FEMA, and will include money to modernize aging electrical grids to withstand extreme weather and prevent fires, reduce flood risks, and support conservation of national parks.
And around the world, in Iceland, a state of emergency is in effect after officials sound the alarm for a significant likelihood of a volcanic eruption near the world-famous Blue Lagoon. This comes after over 1,000 earthquakes, yes, 1,000, were reported in the region just over the weekend. I saw a lot of tweets about this. Towns in the area were also asked to evacuate due to the threat. And in 30 seconds, we continue with coverage on Winter Weather Awareness Week and talk about how farmers across the nation are dealing with the drought. Stay with us.
And it's time for our language and weather nerds to unite and talk about a new weather word this week, and one of those being wind chill. Since it is winter weather preparedness week, wind chill we talk about a lot as we get into the colder months, of course. And wind chill is really important when we get into the colder months because this is talking about what the air temperature feels like when you're factoring in the wind that is blowing. So you're basically combining the actual air temperature outside with how fast the wind is blowing, and that is how cold it is going to feel to your skin, especially exposed skin. That's why we're always telling you when it's a blustery day in the winter, you want to make sure you've got your gloves on, scarf, hat, what have you, because that wind chill can certainly be brutal when you have a strong cold front to come through. So this is actually a chart developed by the National Weather Service and NOAA that helps us to explain how wind chill is calculated. So again, you're taking in the actual air temperature and combining that with how fast the wind is blowing. So let's say we have a day here where it gets down to freezing, right at 30 degrees, and it's a really potent cold front and winds are coming in gusting at 30 miles per hour. So if we check that, that would mean it actually feels like it's 15 degrees outside. So wind chill can be pretty brutal. You see how it's getting into this area here? This also describes frostbite times. When you get into this area where you see the purple here, frostbite can go down in 5 minutes. But typically we don't get well below zero, well into 20 below zero, 25 below zero. We'll save that for our friends up in Alaska and Siberia. But wind chill can certainly be very dangerous, talking about those frostbite times that could occur. But on the flip side, how are plants being affected by these extreme drought conditions that we've been seeing across the U.S.? Farmers out west are trying out new routines to keep their plants alive, and that's by investing in drought-resistant crops like agave. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look at this developing situation.
While fall weather is bringing cooler temperatures across the country, a new report from the nonprofit group Climate Central reveals the last 12 months were the hottest Earth has ever recorded. The scientific research points to greenhouse gas emissions from the burning of fossil fuels for the stubborn heat, which triggered the average global temperature to be more than 2 degrees higher than pre-industrial times from November of 2022 to last month. This unnatural heat is creating an uncertain future for farmers out west who have been facing years of drought. It's prompting some growers in California to start investing in crops that don't require as much water. Their saving grace could come from blue agave, the plant used to make tequila.
Started with 50 and have got to now 2,000 or so.
Agave actually thrives in dry regions with limited water. Farmers in the Golden State hope that it brings them literal gold as more work with local distilleries to transform their agave into premium alcohol.
There's definitely a lot of excitement.
And they may be in luck. Americans' appetite for agave-based liquor has been on the rise. Data from the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States reports the tequila and mezcal market in the United States has grown by more than 270% since 2003. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
And we have just been checking on the latest model data for rain chances tonight. When we come back, we talk about what to expect for Thanksgiving as rain returns, not just tonight, but the middle of next week. Stay tuned for more First Alert Weather Extra.
All right, welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes White. We got showers starting to build in from the south. Here comes the rain, parts of Pickens County, and we're covered up here around Greene County. You can see the leading edge of those showers now starting to work in close to Tuscaloosa. And the temperatures, notice Demopolis, it's dropped to 53 degrees there. As that rain starts, it's going to help to lower the temperature as the atmosphere moistens. So it's going to be chilly and rainy out there later on tonight. But starting to see that wet weather. You check the First Alert Weather app moving in around Tuscaloosa here. Let's go in for a close-up, and we'll go into West Alabama. You can see around Inglewood School and Taylorville some of that rain starting to lift in. Also, I mentioned earlier, Chilton County, we were seeing some rain, and a lot of that fell apart, but it looks like some more wet weather starting to lift in now. You can see around Maplesville, Clanton, and back in towards Centerville as well. So just a few pick locations there. You can see that rain again starting to build in, and this is some of the new data that we have, and it's showing still a pretty good coverage. You look at this through 9 o'clock, showing some of that rain starting to lift in there in areas to the north. But showers will be likely through the overnight. And even though this model is showing a lot of green across East Alabama, there's still going to be some showers for us here in these areas as well. Into Marion County, Fayette, Jasper in the morning as those temperatures take the tumble into the low 50s. Look at this. There's 6 a.m. You see how it's just more wet weather is going to circulate around this low pressure system and lift in from the south. So it's going to be a cold rain at that. 49 degrees they're showing up in Centerville and Alabaster tomorrow morning. Chilly and rainy to kick things off and kind of dreary at times. And the wet weather chances, this is showing, look at 3 o'clock tomorrow, still could see some showers in the afternoon. And one thing I see a lot in this kind of setup, and that we often see a lot, the drizzle and mist kind of hanging around and keeping things very damp and dreary through tomorrow night. That's probably going to actually continue into early on Thursday. That's showing 6 p.m. tomorrow. But as far as heavy rain goes, the heaviest of the wet weather is going to stay to the south. That's where we could end up with maybe over an inch of rain. Some of the projections, look at this, showing Centerville, Greensboro, Clanton there, perhaps well over a half inch of rainfall. Of course, lighter totals showing up to the north in the early projections here, but I still think everybody's going to see a little bit of wet weather here through tonight and tomorrow, and I'd certainly plan for some wet roads out the door tomorrow. Thursday, we wake up to a few leftover showers, and then we catch a break before we could see more scattered showers on Friday. Saturday and Sunday look dry, but in the long range, the next big thing that we're going to be watching was we get into Monday and into Tuesday of next week. We're showing you the First Alert weather calendar, and we're seeing some rain coming back. It looks like for Monday and Tuesday to kick off next week, we're going to see that rain possibly moving out by Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but I would certainly plan for some impacts there as we get closer to the holiday. Heading to meteorologist Lauren Linehan. And Lauren, looks like into next week again. Right now, we were thinking it might be next Tuesday, Wednesday, but now it's looking like more Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Yeah, Wes, this system does seem to be speeding up. And so as we look at that potential for rain early next week and we look ahead to the middle of next week when we get closer to Thanksgiving, that's when we could be eyeing with that wet weather behind that, a strong cold front coming through that could lead to below average temperatures for here in central Alabama, just in time for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. So let's look at those potential high temperatures November 20th through 29th. This is showing the week of Thanksgiving temperatures at or near seasonable averages. And then once we get past Thanksgiving and go to the latter half of that weekend into the last week of November, check out those high temperatures getting pretty chilly. So this is what the Climate Prediction Center is picking up on, maybe a cool down in the cards for us. And so as Wes was mentioning, this system bringing us rain into early next week could have a strong cold front associated with it that maybe could drop our low temperatures down into at least maybe some frosty territory as we get into Thanksgiving and Black Friday, and then maybe the possibility of a freeze past that. But of course, we're going to be watching for any rain potential too. Remember, these are just preliminary temperatures. It can and likely will change. But what about precipitation? Well, it still looks like as we get into the latter half of November, that 6 to 10 day rainfall outlook showcasing above average precipitation for here in Alabama. So let's check out that future cast here. You can see Wednesday, and this is November 22nd, right before Thanksgiving, the busiest travel day of the year. Notice this little dip in the jet stream. There's this shortwave trough that sets up. And so that is going to be bringing in that cooler air behind the rainmaker that we get. And so that dip in the jet stream could be bringing some below average temperatures for Thanksgiving with possibly highs highs only in the 50s. And then as we get into Black Friday, you begin to see a little ridge trying to build over the Gulf Coast, but it doesn't last very long. We begin to see the possibility of Sunday, November 26th, maybe another rainmaker headed our way, and then a secondary rainmaker for that last weekend of what week are, okay, it's November. It's November, that last week of November, and maybe a strong enough trough that there could be possibilities of winter weather well to our north as we wrap up November. But in the meantime, check this out. One of the first electric air taxis took flight out of New York City, and it can carry up to 4 passengers and can get from Manhattan to JFK Airport in 7 minutes. Fox's Arthur Sheehan explains why the creator believes this will be better for the environment.
We could tell you the future is here, but more to the point, that future can get you from Manhattan to JFK Airport in under 10 minutes. Do we have your attention?
I want to make sure I get this right. You said 7 minutes from Lower Manhattan to JFK Airport?
Yep, that's right, 7 minutes.
Call it a brand new day or call it a new form of aviation, the creators of this all-electric air taxi call it eVTOL, short for Electric Vertical Takeoff and Landing, and it took its maiden voyage out of the heliport in Lower Manhattan today. Initially, it will go to the airports, and its backers, including Uber and Delta Airlines, are looking into other landing sites across the city to shuttle passengers between.
This aircraft can take off and land vertically like a helicopter, but it flies using the wing like a small airplane. And it's all electric.
Being electric means it runs quietly, unlike helicopters, and it means it's far better for the environment than gas-powered motors. The eVTOL with a pilot can take up to 1,000 pounds and has seats for 4 passengers and can travel 100 miles. JFK is less than a third of that distance. The mayor was on hand for the announcement today, excited for how this new aircraft will change New York City.
To do it in a clean, green way and allow our young people to earn some clean, green dollars in the process as they learn how to operate these devices, repair these devices, and design these devices.
As for the cost, a seat on the air taxi is expected to mirror Uber Black pricing, around $200 per seat. And then there's surge pricing to take into account. Affordability aside, the timeline is remarkably tight. Joby Aviation says it's working with the FAA to get the aircraft into commercial operation in just 2025. Hello, Jetsons. Arthur Chien, Fox 5 News.
Wow, that's really fascinating. We love to see that type of innovation. We'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
okay. You want me to start it off?
Sure, yeah.
Well, as I mentioned off the top of the show, I just couldn't hold it back. So, such exciting news. Lauren is engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you, Wes. That picture never gets old. Yesterday I just had to like cry some tears to let out all the emotion. And my fiance Matt is wonderful. Thank you, everyone.